Hello, 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 and welcome everybody. This is going to be different from my normal stuff as I am starting a 10-week basically deep dive into the top 10 reasons for suicide, um, teen and otherwise. Um, we're going to deep dive once a week into it. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring my other guests up on stage and welcome them and really quickly take a quick phone call. So, welcome everybody. Um, if you would, my beautiful body illusion, if you could introduce everybody, I'd appreciate it.
Hi, a body illusion, kind of a newcomer to the gang, but I'm here and I hope to contribute a little bit to the philosophy and the reasons behind the heartaches of suicide. That's me.
I'm Indigo. I've been helping Keela on her channel and yeah, just joining the panel by Crystal's invite. That's me in a nutshell.
And welcome my brother, Chris. He is a very, very close friend of mine from LinkedIn. We call him he is the disability um, ambassador who is just spreading awareness on number one, not texting and driving for our teens, but just awareness into disabilities and PTSD and everything else.
Not texting and driving for everyone,
Yeah.
especially for teens, but literally for everybody.
One of these days I will have Chris on my live and we will do a deep dive into your story, won't we, my brother? We can't hear you, honey.
Did he mute himself on accident?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I couldn't get the thing to unmute.
That's all right. So
There's
now,
a smile on him.
Today's topic is family issues, domestic abuse, parental conflict, neglect, or lack of supportive relationships at home, how they contribute to stress and the feeling of alone and everything, and how it contributes to basically people giving up and, well, ending it, you know. So, without further ado, let's do a deep dive into this, okay? Where should we start? I know domestic abuse is a big one, for me. My domestic abuse got so bad that Christmas of 2019, I wanted to end it.
Open it.
I wanted the pain to end fully. I couldn't do it anymore. The only thing that stopped me was my girls, honestly. I had a piece of a broken plate in my hand, just going down, and I heard them playing, and all I could think was, I can't leave them with this monster. And that's what stopped me. Okay. So, domestic abuse is definitely a thing. And welcome the beautiful Keela. How are you, honey? Better late than never, as always.
I had to eat. My blood sugar just went down. Sorry.
And you're breaking up, my love. But welcome. So today's deep dive, like I have in the banner, is family issues, domestic abuse, parental conflict, neglect, or lack of supportive relationships at home, how they contribute to the distress, the feeling of invisibility, and just wanting to end it because they feel like nobody cares. So I was just starting to do a deep dive in it about, what each of those, understanding the different issues and everything. But the biggest one to me, I think, is neglect and lack of supportive relationships. What do you guys think?
Yes, I would agree with that. I was lucky in my situation that I had supportive friends and family, where like I was able to just live on my parents' couch for like 3 months because I ended up being in an abusive relationship for 3 years, and it ended with SA. So if you are estranged or for some reason unaware of the resources that you have available to you, it can make the situation so much more difficult to handle. That's been my experience with it, is I didn't know all the resources I had, even in my city. Like there's a ton of resources now that I've looked them up, but I didn't know that back then.
There wasn't a lot of resources before, I don't believe, like there are now, because there's more awareness made. I know in Texas it used to be, you go to a domestic violence shelter. You can't tell anyone you're there. You nobody. If you have a child, it's just you and your child. And here in Texas, it was really sad. But now we have more resources now.
Well, my thing is like the job I had in the past, we did a lot of volunteer work, and we did volunteer work at safe houses. I'm going to put it that way, safe houses and things like that. We had to sign waivers that we would never speak of where we were or what we did or blah, blah, those kind of things. We worked at safe houses. So I knew they were out there. I knew there was facilities. I knew there was places to go. The hardest thing is taking that step.
The first step.
To walk out, to make that decision. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
First step.
That's even if you know it's out there, doesn't really, help you with that decision, that step, that I'm done, I've got to go. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful that it's out there, because when you do make that decision, it's out there. But even if you know it's out there, that it doesn't make that first step any easier.
No, because the first
In
step
my opinion.
is really admitting that there's something wrong.
Yes.
Even especially for kids who don't have the experience and way to externalize what they're feeling.
Right.
To say something really big is wrong and I need help. Because it's so
well, and then they internalize it. It's only me.
Can you
I'm the freak. I'm the wrong one. Does that make sense?
No. Stop. Right.
Absolutely. Honestly, when it comes down to it,
text her, I just
when it comes down to it, we all feel like we're the ones that are wrong.
Yeah.
When we're not. Our family, our friends, they don't realize what they're doing at times, or they just don't care, unfortunately, because there are toxic members.
Or they don't, or even the ones that care don't see.
Yeah.
They think, well, that's you normally. That's just how you are. That's just how you are.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I was thinking. I was like, she's just the girl causing trouble. No, I'm just a girl that's being abused from 8 till 14 and I don't want to do it anymore. There's a problem.
Somebody is breaking up, but
it's probably me. We're storming down here. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Just keep talking, Keela. We love your voice.
Yeah. Now, one of the things, that is really hard, especially for teens, is seeing their families fighting a lot, and that doesn't help because they blame themselves a lot of times, or they want to fix it, and they feel like they are the cause of
The
it.
reason?
That if they just disappeared, that maybe the parents will stop. Things like that.
Or
You know.
that their problems are smaller. Like
Mhm.
adult problems are so much more serious than my problems.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like that's how I
I don't wanna-
felt.
I
When
don't
I
want to
had-
burden my family.
Well, a story
I
here,
wanna be-
because you know me in stories. I love stories. My mother married at 14. Okay? Because her parents fought all the time. And all they kept saying was, as soon as these kids are gone, we're going to separate and this will be done. We won't have this fighting anymore. So my mother got out of the situation the only way she knew how. Needless to say, my grandparents stayed married until their passing, 61 years of marriage. So it,
That's a big deal.
but that's the logic they hear is, if I get out of the way,
Yeah.
they'll calm down. If that makes sense.
It does. My grandparents lived for a long time, like married to death, and now you rarely see that, with the
Yeah.
parental unit.
But I think
So
it's
anyway, that was my
important
story.
to put out there, like, my parents have been married over 50 years. But when things got bad, it was like, they figured out a way to work through it. My friend's parents didn't, and they stayed together for the kids, and it caused them more damage.
Absolutely.
So I think the society pressure
Yeah.
they put on people to get married when you have a kid happened to my half sister. She had kids, they weren't married, they weren't ready to be married. And they got married and they had a toxic marriage for a couple years. So I think you have to look at yourself and how you've set up your dynamic. And if what you do works for you, but isn't what society tells you is correct, screw that. As long as you're taking care of your mental health and aware of the impact that has on your kids. Because I think a lot of parents underestimate how much kids see and hear and internalize and blame
And
themselves
feel.
for.
I see
Yeah.
it I heard everything, but they didn't realize that.
Keela, honey, you are breaking up real bad.
Yo, it's storming here so bad. Let me try this.
Yeah. So, really quick,
Is
I
this
want
better,
to.
Amy? Is this any better?
Mm-mm.
No, it's I'm afraid it's the storms because it's really bad. I'll
Well,
just be quiet and listen.
I do want to welcome my beautiful, beautiful sister, the Cherry Blossom. And Cherry, please unmute yourself whenever you get the chance. Cherry, honey, unmute.
Aloha.
There she is. She's a little camera shy, but that's fine. She's beautiful. I love her.
I have my daughter.
She's here. That's a big step.
Exactly.
And you have my bestie, Chris. Aloha.
Hey Sherry, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And aloha, Crystal and Kayla. And oh my goodness, I apologize. I'm on my phone, so I welcome and say hello to our other guests. Crystal, who's next to you? The lovely lady with the sunshine hair.
This is my dear friend Body Illusion and
Oh,
our
Body
good friend
Illusion.
Indigo. Indigo.
Indigo.
Um,
Is that
I'm
better?
the comedy relief.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Indigo is Gila's Sharon for me. And
Oh my goodness!
Indigo
Wow.
keeps Gila together like Sharon keeps me together.
Wonderful.
It's not an easy task for her either. Is that how they have any better with microphones? I guess not.
We have a whole mod squad too. So
Yeah.
it's not just me,
And
but I appreciate that.
yes, but what we are putting together is a great community. Cherry, and give my girls a big hug for me, Cherry.
I
Cherry
will. Thank you.
is an amazing, she's actually a kindergarten teacher. But her story is amazing, and we will be seeing that in the book come the 21st as well. Body Illusion, Mr. Chris, quite a few of us are actually going to be published in the Rise book, ironically. And we've all overcome so much. So this topic
Gotcha.
is a really, really special topic for us, you know.
Yes. Honestly, thank you. Thank you.
Bless you, Body Illusion.
I really do say thank you for what you're doing.
Now, I want to do a deep dive into the whole, at home issue when it comes to suicide. And the biggest part is feeling like we're unheard, unseen, and unsupported, like our parents won't believe us if we're being bullied or don't care or tell us to man up if you're a guy a lot of times. Or my favorite is, oh, they're just doing it because they're jealous. That's still not being heard. That's still not acknowledging the pain that we're feeling when we're bullied. And bullying is a big thing. And being bullied at home doesn't help. A lot of times, hurt people, right? So if you're being bullied at school or in the workplace, a lot of times it's the bullies are just either doing what they're taught at home, or they're acting out because they're reaching out and don't know how to do it, So,
And I think that's more prevalent with children. But I want to say that I think by the time that you grow up and you have world experience and you're an adult bullying other adults, that's a choice. You know what I mean? Like kids don't have the way to look to the future. That's why bullying is so bad at a young age, because they don't see, they see the day they're on and that's their entire world. And then they move to the next day and that's their entire world over and over. And if they don't have people there to support them or to even acknowledge that what they're experiencing is wrong, like even if another adult or a teacher were to pull you aside and be like, how often does Billy trip you in the hallway? Just acknowledging what kids are going through is important, because the reason it's so heartbreaking is that they can't see 24-year-old them having friends, being successful, doing their dreams, because they don't have that. They have tunnel vision, basically.
Yeah. No, I'm
They're
actually
as old as they're going to get, is what,
Yeah.
whatever age they are right there. Is that what you're trying to say?
Mhm.
With their mind?
Yeah, like whereas adults, which is still heartbreaking when adults go through with it, but there is that feeling of,
Hey,
like,
Mac.
when I was in my 20s, I could think like, okay, there'll be a time when I'm not with this person anymore. After I left Carrington, all I could think of was future me is going to have friends that care about me.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, present me had that, right? I had friends who literally went with me to get the rest of my stuff because he said I stole his stuff. Spoiler warning, I did not steal his stuff. So I had friends go with me to get the rest of my stuff from our apartment because he literally would not trust that I knew what was mine and what was his. And I'm like, all right, fine. We'll follow your little rules. But it's like when you have that amount of pain, and my personal attempt was because I was like, I'm done. It wasn't even like I can't get out of this. I was just like, the only way to not feel this stress is just to be gone, and it never occurred to me. Like I didn't even think about anyone else.
I can understand that. Now, I actually have I'm really glad Sherry's here. Because as a teacher, I kind of want to ask you, I know you work with kindergarteners, but even at that young of an age, you can see depression even in those kids when they have a troubled home life. Am I right? Sherry, I want your opinion as a teacher and a mom.
Absolutely.
I would love it because we're trying to get the awareness for kids, especially like teens and kids, you know?
Yes. The unique experience that I had was my life. I was married at sorry. I was married at 18 and I started teaching at 23. And during the entire time I've been teaching, I was in a domestic violent marriage. And I believe that I had insight on children that may or may not have been in domestic violent families. And I really appreciate your share, excuse me, Indigo. And don't mind me, my coping, like with Crystal's humming, is crying. So if I cry, it's because I really do care. And I'm sorry, Crystal Gem, what was your your question? Excuse me.
Okay. What I was asking is, as a teacher, now I personally know your story, honey, but as a teacher, even with as young as kindergartners, have you had to make those calls of, you know, worry of are some of your students depressed, things like that? I mean, I know you work with really littles, but even
Yes.
then, I mean, my girls, we put them in play therapy, and they were in pre-K 4 and kindergarten when I got out. And yeah, I could definitely see like depression in my daughters and things like that from what they were going through. So,
Absolutely, Crystal. We as teachers are mandatory reporters. So if we believe there is neglect or abuse with the child, we already are technically, as teachers, we have that radar on, so to speak. I myself am an empath, so I definitely knew, I believe I knew the children that were maybe having emotional crisis, physical crisis. And I really took that responsibility, and as a human, just the humanity of just being in tune with my students. I've taught for 20 years, and I think the other factor too is English is my third language. So as kindergarten teachers, we're literally on our hands and knees with eye contact, body language, and I wanted to make sure every student understood me and I understood them. So definitely I did see the red flags.
Thank you. I know it's hard to talk about, Cherry, and I love you. Cherry is part of my Powerpuff Girls. She is my cherry blossom. She is one of my dearest friends, and she's amazing. What she's been through is heartbreaking, and she never deserved to go through it. Neither did her sister. But that's a story for another day. In fact, Mac on Surviving Together has actually just touched on the topic of what her sister went through. But when it comes down to it, being bullied is one of the biggest reasons for suicide, whether it's an adult or teens. I was coaching a friend of mine's daughter, and we actually had to pull her out of school and put her into homeschool because the plastics. Everybody in the chat and up here, we all know who the plastics are, right? We've all seen Mean Girls. We know what this is, who they are. They straight up looked at her and said, "You should just go unalive yourself."
That's
You
a
know,
really common.
She's 12 at the
That's
time.
really common these days. I don't understand.
Yeah, it seems to be more and more.
A
And it's
friend of
Scary.
a friend of mine's
heartbreaking.
daughter was murdered over a boy. She was 16. Her 16-year-old girl paid a guy to kill her because of another boy. How does this happen nowadays? And I honestly have to blame parenting.
I think it's a society systemic issue, to be honest with you. Like, you have to work long hours, like longer than before. Maybe you're not able to be there all the time with your kids to set an example, or you're not the best example yourself. And I think it's true crime is a very popular genre. And I think a lot of people don't understand that these are stories that really happened. They're not entertainment. You know what I mean? They're legit people who were killed or whatever, but kids don't have, again, without an adult there to give you a frame of reference. So my mom was really worried because I would watch a lot of supernatural TV shows. I'm like, Mom, I understand that Spike is a 25-year-old man in makeup and fake vampire teeth, and that I can't just file down a spike and go stab a guy on the street. Like, I'm aware that this is fantasy, but my parents developed my imagination and really taught me the difference between reality and fantasy. The problem is shooting games blur that. Like, if you don't have the guidance, certain things blur and become like the line between what should and shouldn't happen becomes very blurry.
I do agree with that to a point. Okay. And you're making a very good point. I don't blame video games for a lot of it, as long as exactly what you were saying, Indigo, the awareness, your parents teach you what is, reality, what you can and cannot do, things like that. Granted, I wasn't really allowed to play video games as a kid. I had my Game Boy, and that was it until I was like 18. I'm not even kidding. I didn't have a PlayStation 1. I didn't have a PlayStation 2. I didn't have none of it until I moved out of the house.
You're all babies.
Is it my audio coming in just a little bit?
Mm-hmm. What was that, honey?
I said, is my audio coming in just even a little bit where you can hear me?
Kind of, but it's a little echoey.
Okay, hang on. What about now?
I'm gonna say, Keela, why don't you try joining from your phone?
That one. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
Blake, that is such
Crystal?
a really valid. Go ahead, Sherry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Again, English is my third language. I don't understand a lot of these things. Could you briefly share what the plastics are?
Okay,
Thank you.
the Mean Girls. Mean Girls, honey.
Oh, I understand. Thank you.
The actual group of Mean Girls.
The
are called-
Ashleys from
the-
Recess.
Yeah. The Heathers.
Right?
The Heathers.
Yes.
Yeah. You know my story, All That Glitters Isn't Gold, about the Mean Girls.
Yes,
Sherry.
I do know. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's
thank you.
the plastics is the it girl, the it group. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's-
the ones that kind of are depicted as what you want to look like, what you want to be a part of.
Yes.
I will say the
yeah.
most bizarre thing was going to my high school reunion and talking face to face with people who bullied me in middle school and just having them not remember a single horrible thing they said and did to me.
I would never go to a class reunion. Never.
And having this, well, I had a lot of good experiences in high school, but like we all went to the same high school after middle school. But in my head, I was like, okay, it doesn't seem like they're still bullies, but at the same time, I'll never forget what they did to me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like if kids get through
The damage
this,
is still there.
Yeah.
if kids get through this, it's like it's still you have to be able to tell your inner child that they were wrong. Right?
Absolutely.
Like you have to support yourself because they're not going to remember what they said to you when you were 13.
Yeah.
But you remember because
Yep.
you had to push through it, and my focus turned from socializing to academic.
Yep.
And I got
Yeah.
so I
And
got bullied
mine
for
would
my
be I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I can't go to school tomorrow. I would be sick
Yeah.
or something. Some other reason I
because when
didn't
you're
want
kids,
to
like
be
and
there
so
anymore.
you have
know?
glasses or you're fat or you're these things that you can't really
Yeah.
like change.
Body shaming.
I still have glasses. Like I don't. My eyes never got 20/20 vision. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to look back and
Oh.
think like again that reality of like I could go to my parents about anything.
Yeah. Well, and I was the only
So
one in
I
my
was
family
lucky
who
in
had bright red hair. So it didn't matter what, hallway I walked down, what classroom I walked into, like you with the glasses, there was red hair. There was automatic target. And it was not this color. It was red. So I get and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, what are you going to do? You're a redhead. You wear glasses. It's just the way it is,
Hey,
Except I don't want to go to school tomorrow.
I personally love reds to the point where I dye my hair, but I do want to welcome Maggie, Margaret. Welcome to the stage. Well, hey, the gang's all here. Me, Cherry, and Chris. We're all here together. Welcome, Maggie. In fact, was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that we were talking about this exact topic in Chris's audio room?
Yeah, it's about, and thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you again for this room. And hello, everybody who's here. My beautiful sis, Cherry, and wonderful brother, Chris, and Indigo, and Body Illusion, and Kalia. Hello. Hi, ladies. Yes, we were just talking about this. So
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Now I'm echoing. I'm echoing now.
And we touched on it last night in the room that we had with Saving Teen Lives, to let you know, Crystal. So this is wonderful that you're doing this. I also said that we're going to have a room like this too, probably on Go Brunch, but yeah, because this is it, right? This is where we're at. This is a common thing, and we don't want it to get to be a norm, right? But we're seeing this, so we are collectively going going against this, right? And in getting knowledgeable, right? Because right now I feel like if we're not talking and we're not communicating about this effectively, then we're being ignorant to the fact of that what's going on. And so I appreciate you and thank you so much for doing this, because this is the important thing. This is what should be in the forefront of every discussion in every room is, suicide prevention, because it's not only happening to kids, it's happening to adults. It's not only happening to the adults, it's happening to the kids, and they're getting younger and younger. Who hears of 70?
And where does it start? You have to think, where does it start? It starts when they're young, and then it builds and builds, right?
Right, because you're right, 100%. I love that you said that, because we are not checking in, and that's what we talked about in Chris's room. We're not checking in. If you see that your child is in a depressive state, if you see that something isn't right, look for those signs. You have to look for those signs. You have to be in constant communication. If something's not okay, let's talk about it. Why is it not okay? Who can you talk to? They can't talk to you. They might not be able to talk to you.
Open.
So what do you do when there's no signs?
Pardon?
It's just gone.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine.
I can hear you. I'm just having to stream off. Very different devices. I said, what do you do when there are no signs? There's nothing. He's just gone.
What I think is happening here. Hey, Miss Margaret, how you doing, my beautiful sis? What I think is happening is our parents are taking too much time with their jobs and not paying attention to their kids. That's what I feel is happening. That's the reason I got my room going. It's because we think our jobs are important and we're not listening and seeing. We're not seeing what's happening to our children, because the something's happening in school. They're getting in somebody, because I was a teen that happened. I got bullied in school and lost my cool, and I couldn't go back to school because I grabbed the dude and choked him to death because he slapped me, and I was minding my business, and I had been ignoring it, and my parents just didn't see what was going on, and because they worked all the time, because it was trying to provide a roof for over our heads and make sure we had clothes on our backs. And I think what's happening is our parents are putting too much time in on their jobs and not enough time to be with their children at home. And I think that's what's happening. And because I didn't listen, because my parents worked all the time, that's the reason I'm disabled and had this accident, because I thought I knew it all. I thought it was on top of the world. And this is what happened. I think that's what's happening is we need to slow down, communicate with our kids and get to know what our kids, let our kids understand we love them. Let our kids, if we're telling our kids they can't do this, as parents, we should do the same thing. If we're calling our kids out on something, our kids need to call us out on, hey, you're doing something wrong. You told me I couldn't do it, but look, you're doing it too. Let's talk to our kids. And I think that's why our kids are losing. We're losing our teens because parents are not communicating with their kids is what I think is happening. I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm sorry, but that's what I feel.
No,
speak your
Not rude
mind.
at all.
I appreciate that.
I love your share.
I just know,
Pardon me.
ours is like a weird situation.
I think there's always going to be a one-off.
Double parents.
There, where you don't see it, even if you're just not going to see. That's what I feel. That every person is different.
Stay-at-home moms,
and every person is going
we
to
had no
hide
idea.
their
We just had no
feelings in a
idea.
different way.
I'd love
And
to
some people are
answer the
better at hiding their
question.
feelings than others.
Yeah. I think, Keela, did you have more to say?
I'm sorry.
You were saying.
No, I was saying I'm sorry, everything is echoing and I'm doing the best I can, but I don't want, there's those exceptions out there, and Dylan was that exception because he was a good, happy kid. You don't think I would have noticed, even if there was a change? There's just nothing. That's what I can't wrap my hand around. I don't understand.
Miss
I know,
Kayla.
you know, you're right, because I lost a cousin to suicide because his parents didn't see it, and he was talking to his girlfriend on the phone, and they were talking about committing suicide, and she backed out and never picked up the phone to call his dad or
Oh my
call an
God.
authority to say, hey, he's going to commit suicide. Let's stop this. She listened to him pull the trigger on the gun over the phone. And I
Uh,
think
Oh my
I don't
God.
understand.
that was,
That's
I have
awful.
never forgot that. And that sticks with me
Chris,
so
I'm
much
sorry.
because
Brother
I
Chris,
lost
I'm sorry.
I lost a cousin to that. And then, like Miss Crystal would say, we lost a best friend, Jess Harvey, to the same thing because someone was talking to her and didn't call no one to get her help. And that's the same thing and this is hard because parents don't see it. And we need to wake up and learn how to see what our kids are going through and let's
And
save them because
our
if they,
friends too.
our
Like I had two friends who tried to commit suicide a year apart from different cultures. Like I have a friend who's Pakistani and gay and lost his job, and all this pressure was on him because he, he's like, if I come out to my dad, he could lose half his family. Like, and he just couldn't handle it. And then I had a friend in the Black community, and yeah, like last April, you know, like it's just like culture. We need to break down transparency between cultures as well. I mean, seriously, like there's so much pressure when you start looking into like different cultures on men. I really feel for men. I feel like they're not given early room to cry. Like I told my sister and my brother-in-law when they had my first nephew, I said, do not tell him not to cry. That's his only way of expressing himself as a child. Let him throw the tantrum, let him cry, let him flail, and then after he's done, ask him what's wrong. But don't tell him to shut off his emotion. That's exactly what leads to all this pressure buildup inside of people, because by telling them to shut off their emotions, you're basically invalidating their experience as a human being. So I
Amen.
really
Very
feel
good
for
point.
men. The
Very
two
good
friends of mine I almost lost were men. And I talked to them. I talked to them in person or on the phone. And I'm not going to get into my medium abilities a lot, but I had a connection to them the night they tried. And of course, then I tried to call them
Being
and
a
they
super
wouldn't,
empath, I feel it, and I never
they
felt it.
wouldn't pick up their phone. There was something wrong. I couldn't get a hold of, their girlfriend or their boyfriend. And like, of course I couldn't because they were in the hospital, So it's a lot for us. And then, giving them space after they went to treatment. Because by the way, when you when you get hospitalized for that, they don't just let you go home. There's a lot of
No, they
rules.
don't.
There's a lot of screening. Like, do you have somebody who can be a safety point for you? Like, you're not allowed to be unsupervised until they're comfortable that you're in a headspace where you won't repeat that behavior. And so it's like it doesn't end. Like if you fail an attempt, it doesn't end, and it doesn't end for anyone who knows someone who was, I hate the word successful in this scenario, but you know what I mean.
I do too.
May
Miss
I say
Kayla.
something real quick?
I do too.
May I say something real quick? I'm so sorry about my technical difficulties. But I was going to say, and I think the back feed is from not being muted, but I was going to say that
Oh.
I'm sorry for your loss. first and foremost, I'm so sorry because people lose people. I have this is Crystal knows that this is so important to me, and my daughter's mental health is very important to me, and the first thing. And you're right, and thank you for that question of what if they're not talking? What if there's no signs? What if there's no discussion? You have to keep on them. You have to, pay attention to them. Affection, love, everything has to do with it. You have to, because look through their phones. What are they watching? What are they into? What are they doing? Be in their lives. 107. Because let me tell you this: if there's something is bothering them, and you are almost to the point of you're smothering them or you're just too much on them, right? They're gonna crack and they're gonna tell you, right? And that's what you want. You need to be consistently and consistent also is what I spoke about. And the reason that this is so, this is the first time I ever say any of this. Okay. This is the first time I ever speak any of this, and this is going to be recorded. So in her dad's side of the family, there is suicide. Her great uncle is no longer with us as of 2009. So her mental state, if you see me disappear, if you see me not answer you, if you see me not call you back, if you see me not this and that, it's because I'm with her, because I'm spending time with her, because she's asking me to be with her, because she's, and all of these things. That and I know that I have to be that, because this is also generatively, it's hereditary, and we need to be aware, we need to be conscious of that. We need to say, hey, I need to be in this life. I need to be educated on this, because you can have a doctorate. I was just speaking in another room about this. You can have all the degrees, you can have all the doctorate, but you won't see it coming, right? So you have to be knowledgeable about what mental health issues there are, how to stay mentally healthy, because this can be generatively passed on. And I know it runs in that family on that side, So we have to be aware of it. And I think collectively, and this is what we're doing right here, collectively, we're all doing this. We're all fighting against this. We're uniting against this, right? Because we don't want to see this happen over and over and over again. And how do you stop it? How do you, and it's good for them to check in. School, Cherry can attest to this. School counselors are there available. That's what they get paid for. Work with them, have your child check in, do a check in, once in a while with them, or have the school, and teachers, let me tell you, Cherry can speak on this more than me, but teachers know their students. So they know if something is off. They know if they are high alert. This is why they go to school and they study that human behavior, right? Because they're watching them, they're observing. So if something is off, and you be in good communication with them too, give them that level of respect and stuff. So thank you so much for letting me speak. I'm honored to be here. And it's just a blessing. And thank you for uniting against this with Crystal. Thanks.
Thank you, Sister Margaret and Brother Chris, for your shares. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for everyone's losses, and Crystal Gem as well. I wanted to answer Indigo's question about no signs. Was that your question, Miss Indigo?
It was Keela.
Oh, pardon me, Keela. Pardon me. And I will continue with what Miss Margaret was saying, that we do know our students, and what I have tried to do for the past 20 years with my kindergarten students is I partner with the parent for the success of the child. And usually, there's always exceptions, but when you meet the parent, you meet the child. And when there's no signs, one of the things that we need to do as parents or as teachers, listen, we're all teachers to children, really. We're all of us are role models for children, whether they're yours or not. And what we have done I teach in Seattle Public Schools in the inner cities, is post-pandemic, when we had the increase in mental crisis, and we increased suicide awareness, we brought in a perfect world, I wish this could be everywhere, but we brought mental health providers in, mental health counselors. For our district, we have a school psychiatrist who oversees the mental health providers. I myself was inspired. I just finished my master's in social work from the University of Washington. Because of my history and just wanting to find a way, as Brother Chris was saying, to save children's lives. And I have PTSD myself and a traumatic brain injury. My daughters have they have shared suicidal ideations, and I did ask them both if I could share this, just by the way. um, and it's growing up in a domestic violent household is really hard for the children. And I hope I answered your question. I'm not quite sure, but I love you all, and I feel for you all, and what Crystal's doing with our stories is amazing. So thank you.
I appreciate that so much because I've got every letter alphabet. It doesn't matter after my name professionally. What matters is that my grandson, I never saw. I'm a required reporter. I'm a paramedic. I'm 20 years in the mental health field. When you don't know, you don't know. And he's just, I don't know. I want to know one day. I think that's what eats me up inside. I don't know. But Crystal, I thank you for taking Dylan's story and making this happen. It means the world to me. And I've lost this necklace, and I found it this morning, my semicolon necklace that I've looked everywhere for, and I found it this morning.
Miss Kayla, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I admire your strength and resilience. And I hope that I can be a mother to my daughters like you have to your Dylan.
Thank you.
Cherry, you're an amazing, amazing mom. So don't ever doubt yourself, sweetheart. You are amazing. Everybody that's on this stage is amazing. Maggie, I know you've got to run. Maggie is a single mom and is helping, with bridging the gap of communication and giving all different types of ways to do that. And maybe next weekend, when I actually do this on Saturday, we can maybe even talk with Maggie's daughter on, the social, bullying in school and how she deals with it and with her mom and stuff, if they're up to it. Not pressuring Maggie. It's just it's an option.
Yes, thank you, Krista. We will do that. And I wanted to say, Keela, my heart is with you. And that's all I can say. My heart is with you, and thank you. Yeah, I have a meeting like in 5 minutes, but yeah. And Cherry, thank you for all you do. And yes, I'm gonna second what Crystal just said. You are amazing, mom. You are beautiful, first of all, inside and out. And you are stronger than what we are stronger than what we think we are. And if we can
My
help,
motto: we can do hard things.
amen. If we can help others, and Brother Chris for what he does too, and just everybody. And thank you, everyone.
All right. I will have to go, but thanks, Crystal. And yes, we will do that next Saturday. Just get with me, love.
Absolutely, Maggie. I love you and
I love
see
you.
you soon.
Bye.
So,
Crystal, before Maggie goes, can I share with everyone what an amazing mother she is? So when I first met Maggie, on her profile, it said single mom. And that was huge for me. I went onto LinkedIn a year ago thinking I'm going to talk with other educators, professional platform. And when I saw single mom and now it's proud mom, that meant the world to me because I truly believe that I'm on this earth, that my God given talent is to be a mother. And I will always, forever be grateful for you, Sister Margaret.
and with that, she had to leave. Now, we have just barely scratched the surface. And that's why I said this is going to be a weekly topic for at least the next 10 weeks, except for the 21st, because that day is when our wonderful book comes out. And so many people in the chat and that have been on stage are going to be featured in said book, sharing their stories so we can get awareness out there, of domestic abuse awareness, healing and growing. I have some stories that are from being a witness to it in their childhood and making the choice of making that shift, of not continuing the cycle. I've got survivor stories. I've got angel stories, like from Awakened. We all have those stories, unfortunately, of trauma. And I've made it my duty to get that awareness out there and to give all of us our power back by sharing our stories, whether it's online here like this or through the written word like we're doing. We're taking our power back. We're getting the awareness out there so that hopefully the next generation doesn't go through what we did. Like I was talking about this morning in Keela's live, while we were waiting so patiently for Keela and Kayla. We all have a story and we deserve to have it told.
You just never know what people are going through. So, I mean, to anybody out there who, all right, I never usually give trolls any headspace, but I'm going to do it right now. Whatever you're going through, just stop it. Stop bullying people. You never know what other people are going through.
Okay.
And I feel like that's how I try to operate in my life. If I go to the store and they mess up my order, I don't fly off the handle because who knows what the cashier was going through or the shopper is going through who forgot something in my order. I can just get refunded. Like I don't need to yell at somebody. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, you never know the mountain someone's trying to climb. But we're all human beings and we all have feelings, So just that, like, that's why we have a zero tolerance policy when people come and try to bully people, because it has an effect. Your words have an effect on human beings. And there's not a single human being on this planet that's worthless. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
And I appreciate that.
You said that beautifully.
Yes, I love you, Indigo. I'm Native Hawaiian, so I am a emotional empath, and I believe in all that you were sharing, medium wise, and thank you.
Wow, you guys actually made me speechless and forgot what I was about to say. Go
See,
you.
Indigo did well. She did well.
So honestly, when it comes down to awareness, period, whether it's domestic abuse, suicide, or any of it, Indigo said it right. You know, and Chris, my brother Chris has heard me say this, and so has Cherry, so many times in LinkedIn audio rooms. Live your life with kindness. Say hello to someone at the grocery store. Comment on their funky color hair or cool t-shirt. You know, you never know with that, just that simple hello, you could save a life, because that's just acknowledging that they're alive, and that's all somebody might need. It's just
That they're
that,
being seen.
yeah, and saying hello. You know, that's all we need. And
One hello can save someone's life.
yeah, and you'll never
Because
even
there's
Want
know.
to
things
say no? People will say, "Oh, I don't see what the
I have
point
on the
of
back of all of my shirts.
just the word hello."
And how it, just saying hi, how hard is that? You know, and acknowledging the fact that, you know, not everybody is in that space. If somebody's rude to you, just remember, you don't know the storm they're going through. It probably is not because of them, because of you or anything. They just
Yeah.
could legitimately be having a bad day. Live your life with kindness and grace and love. And
What I would tell people when I worked at the coffee place I worked at, it's never the latte. It's never the latte that they're angry about or hurt over.
no.
It's a paper cup filled with hot bean juice. It's not the latte. It's something more. Like one woman came in one time and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to put something on my order." And I was like, "Well, what do you need? I'll just make it. It's fine, whatever. We'll comp the order." And she was like taking drinks to the hospital for her family, visiting someone in the hospital, and she forgot to add one drink on her order. It's like, you know, like you said, you don't know the storm people are going through, but you can be an oasis for that, for a moment where they don't have to worry about whatever they're worrying about.
Absolutely.
Interesting use of words. Oasis. I like that.
DJ Nico, thank you. My girls and I both love the movie Trolls, and when you posted that, all I could think of was in the movie Trolls, the cook troll saying that to the prince, you know, and it brought a smile to my face, you know, remembering that scene in the movie. Yes, I associate so much in life with music. You know, I have a playlist for everything, you know, and that brought back a good memory of all of that. Now, Keela, I do have permission from Ava Under Fire to use this song when I'm talking about suicide awareness, but when you are going to have to mute it out on your channel afterward, okay? But Ava Under Fire did an amazing song called The Strong, and now I am going to share the song. What do I always do? I work, sleep, and eat. That is such a lie. I'm so tired of it later.
Crystal, Jen, may I make a
Wow,
comment?
that said so much.
Yes. Crystal, may I make a comment? Okay. Um, if anyone is going through a crisis, please do call the crisis line. And if you know a friend, um, be that friend. And Brother Chris has been that friend for me. This past year, I was going through divorce, child custody, moving into a new home. And for me, with my PTSD, it is the night terrors. Um, I I don't like to sleep. Uh, when I get to the REM sleep of my sleep, I know that's when I have the nightmares. And Brother Chris, for the past year that I've been on LinkedIn, he has always been available. And I'm sorry, and I love him so much and his wife because I have the spirit of men And I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you cry. Hopefully, it's just this man has saved my life. Thank you so much for it.
That's what it's about, right? Damn. Sorry, I'm not laughing at the
No,
video.
I'm either laughing or crying.
But I went through some dark stuff recently, and I used to be in a lot more chats, and I took like a month and a half offline, and the chats that I went on during that time like just saved me. Like, these thoughts don't. I've been in therapy, I've done journaling, I do all this crap, and to me the thoughts they're always there, but the fact that I'm not listening to them, that's what I see as my progress. So anyone in the chat, if you think we don't see you, if we don't think your channel doesn't matter, and you think that you're not making a difference for people, stop right now, because you are making a difference. You know, like, that's why we need to have these hard conversations. You know, because you feel so alone. You know, all it took was her getting a text message and the video. She reached out to someone and they had no idea what she was going through, and it stopped her, you know? One of my favorite bands, Simple Plan, has a song called This Song Saved My Life. It saved my life. That came out when I was going through another dark time. I feel like the year 2022 was like the worst year of my entire life. Right? Yeah. The second worst year of my entire life. But yeah, that's why we're here. It's, you know, it's why we're all sharing our stories, because we all matter, you know? And I think it's brave, Chris, that you're not only sharing your own experience, but that you're there for people, because it takes an incredible amount of strength when you struggle with this pain to be a 3 a.m. phone call for somebody else. And I've had friends tell me, I don't have it with me, but I made a card for my wallet that has like my doctor's phone number, my psychiatrist's phone number, and then a phone number for my dad, and then a phone number for one other person. And I had friends tell me, I feel guilty that I can't be this for you. And I said, don't. It's why I'm having this honest conversation with my friends offline. I struggle with this daily, you know? And I told my friends who said they couldn't, that's okay. I respect that, you know? That's why I asked and didn't just write you down as someone to call. It's like having these conversations helps build strong foundations with the people in your life. It's so important, you know, and I'm going to say people do roll call on their channel, but I think it's especially important for the village is because we see you. That is the whole point. Like Keela said, if only one person showed up to the chat, she would be there.
Yep.
And I would say, even if I'm talking to 0 people, even if no one showed up today and we were just talking to each other, it's still going to help somebody. It's going to help us. I mean, shit. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear.
Well, real quick. So when it comes to that video, and Kaylin can vouch for how excited I was, and so can Chris and Cherry, actually. I do legitimately have permission from Ava Underfire. Now, for those of you that don't know, Ava Underfire is who I want to be when I grow up. She is a therapist by day, specializing in depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, and a rock star by night. She's who I want to be when I grow up. And welcome my beautiful, beautiful friend and sister, Queen Kaylin. She and I actually need to get back into it, but we do tarot readings together, and she's all about mental health. She was just picking up her daughter. She's a little late to the party, but welcome, my queen, one of my dear, dear friends and sister. So, hi, beautiful.
Hello.
We were actually talking about suicide awareness, and basically, we're doing a deep dive for the next 10 weeks, honestly, into different issues. And Indigo, if you want to join us sometime doing tarot, you're welcome to join us. Am I correct, my beautiful queen?
Yeah, for sure.
So do you want to share anything on the topic, Kaylin? Even if it's a personal story of, when you were close to the edge and got pulled back.
Well,
if not, it's okay, honey. Actually, Kaylin's kind of in a little bit of a dark space right now herself, personally. She's been going through some stuff, so let's just send her some love. You didn't have to jump up, my love. I appreciate you, though.
I know. I appreciate you too.
So why don't we just send some love to our beautiful queen? Breakups, even when they're expected, or we know that they're happening, still suck. And Kayla, my beautiful Kaylin's dealing with a breakup, and it's sad and it sucks, especially because they've been together for a long time. So,
Girl, same.
So we are all sending you love, Kaylin. See?
Thank you.
I wasn't trying to. I'm not putting everything out. I just wanted to let them know, why you're sad.
I appreciate you.
And we love you. And just you showing up, says something. Because Kaylin's been kind of MIA lately, in a way. But we love you. So, on that note, does anybody else want to share anything? Otherwise, I think I'm going to wrap it up because I do believe somebody else has got some lives at 2 that we're supposed to be paying attention to.
Crystal.
Yes.
That video you just played just brought a lot of memories back from when I went to school. Just what that girl went through, that's exactly what I went through in school. And when I said I lost it in the classroom, because I was always taught you don't put your hands on nobody. You go to someone. I had been. Nobody was listening. Nobody was doing anything until that one day that you know the story. And I said that one day, it wasn't about the pencil. It was just that one day I lost it because he slapped me and I was sitting in the desk and I lost it and choked him out instead of the bully going home. I was the one that brought a lot of memories because that happened to me in school, Then that brought a lot of memories back when I saw that. I was just, oh man, that was just horrible and hard, And I love you so much, Crystal. And Sherry, you've been a big help because she calls me all the time. And when she doesn't call, I miss her phone calls. Or she doesn't text sometimes. I miss those calls because she keeps me lifted up. Her and Margaret both. They just keep me where I should be. And this is just, that was brought so much memories back. That, yeah, it was hard what I went through. And what to see her go through, I understand that. And just that one call she got saved her life. Just that one.
And I just want to say really quick, as part of Mental Health Matters, we have a Facebook group where we have peer support. Because as we know, when these streams end, there's so much that comes up. Or you can email. I'll throw my email in the chat or something. Like, you're not alone if you need to talk more or you need more support after stuff like this. It's there for you.
Much appreciated. And those of you on my LinkedIn and on my YouTube side, you all know, reach out to me, reach out to Chris. I mean, yeah.
And
Chris,
Krista, you know, I'm here 24 hours.
I know.
Got my phone. Everybody,
I know.
Anybody wants to, they can just pick up and call me, text me, whatever. Carrie does, Margaret does. You know, you can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Everybody normally kind of comes to me, ironically, like when they have tech questions or things like that, you know, or getting their story out. But I do appreciate, you know, you guys saying that, hey, when you have a problem, you can come to me. You know, everybody always looks at me as I'm the strong. Awakened, I already posted Chris's link on Keela's channel.
I always say I'm only as strong as the people around me.
Yeah.
I didn't fight for myself. I knew something was wrong in my horrible relationship. And I had friends who didn't let me pull the smoke screen over my eyes anymore. You know, I had that support. So that's what we're doing here. We're not just doing awareness videos. We're building connection, you know?
Wow. Thanks, Misha.
Yep. Misha's exactly right.
Yeah. I am strong, but I have times that I break too. I mean, we all do. In fact, my beautiful queen, she saw me at one of my weakest moments, actually, one day, with Jen Lin and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it happens. We all break. We all have our times, and that's okay. So, on that note, I honestly am hungry and would like to go grab a bite to eat, honestly.
Yes. Here's your mom friend reminding you to drink water, eat, and also, if it's the last thing you hear today, you matter and you're loved. That's all.
Hey, Chris, let's say this, you know, I got this quote. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Miss Margaret. All lives matter because of living God. You know, I just wanted to throw that in. Margaret, that's Margaret's quote. And she says, all lives matter because of living God. And that's what we have to be aware of. You know, I just wanted to throw that in.
All lives do matter.
All lives do matter, and because of living God. And that's not my quote. That's Margaret's quote because she's got them on T-shirts. And that's her quote. And I just couldn't forget. Read that off her T-shirt, and I never have forgot that. You know, and I just wanted to throw that in. And Sherry, if you get a
Keela, come a little closer to the screen because we can't quite see what the semicolon says. It says you matter. Okay, got you.
What's it say?
It says you matter.
Oh, you matter. Okay.
And we understand body illusion. That's okay, honey. But on that note, I love all of you, but I am honestly going to say, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next week for the second installment of this. And it'll be a little bit more planned out. So, love you guys.
I love y'all. God bless you all. Sherry, see me in my room if you feel like it later today.
Oh yes.
I
love you
there.
all.
I love y'all and God bless y'all. Thanks, Crystal. And I'll be at the next one. Just send me the link.